I'm Madison Sprato. I chose the topic of creating a fictional character through life and death, and I named him Diaz. Some background information on him is that he's from a low-income area in an urban city, and his culture is very big on family, so his grandmother lives with them throughout his life. Okay, so chapter 1 is fetal growth. When he was conceived, his mother was an avid smoker. She would smoke like a pack or two a day, and she continued to smoke through the pregnancy until the 9th week when she was weaning off of it. And this is a point where an intervention should have happened for the mother to quit smoking in order to not harm the fetus and cause stress on the growth process. But she does eventually stop in the 9th week. And then the fetal growth proceeds normally, except there was a few urinary tract infections due to the mother smoking. But overall, he was born a week early with no complications. And the father was not present, but the grandmother was. So chapter 2 is the first 2 years of life. He is a healthy infant besides being underweight, which doctors can contribute to stress he experienced in the womb while his mother was quitting smoking. And at 18 months, his father did leave. He did leave them, which is sad. But so he's being raised by his mother and his grandmother. Overall, his motor skills were developed slowly, and he started walking around 19 months. And the biosocial factors of his early childhood include his mother choosing to breastfeed him, which gave him proper nutrients and allowed for his growth to go smoothly. And cognitively, Diaz successfully goes through the first 4 stages of Pigot's sensory motor intelligence. Stage 5, though, I'm going to say this wrong, tertiary circular reactions gave him some troubles. Usually in this stage, a child is considered a little scientist, but he had trouble diving into investigating new things. Some doctors contributed this to that without a father figure. He has trouble feeling confident in himself, so his ability to discover new things is kind of held back because he doesn't have all the role models that other infants have, and that's what this shows is him not. Also, around 1, he starts talking in broken fragments and creates his own holophase, which is like a single word that is used to express a thought. So, let's say his is kitty, because he saw a cat one day, but if he's hungry, if he's tired, he's going to be like, kitty, 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 and expect them to know what it means. But also, due to his low income status, his mother struggles to buy him the most mind-engaging toys, so he suffers from a lack of stimulation and struggles forming complete sentences as quickly as other babies because he doesn't have that backup that toys would give. Psychosocially, he struggles with separation anxiety when leaving his mother. Since his mother works double shifts in order to support him, she has to put him in daycare when his grandmother has doctor's appointments, and he just fusses and throws and cries for an hour after his mother leaves. It's just this whole thing. But his temperament develops as stubborn because of it and slow to warm up due to his insecurities and ambivalent attachment, which makes leaving his caregiver, his mother and grandmother, very difficult, and he is stubborn to calm down. The insecure attachment stems from the mother's stress about income also, because he kind of feeds off of his mother's stress. And chapter 3 is early childhood. In terms of biosocial effects, the low income status of his family doesn't allow him to receive proper nutrients. Inexpensive food tends to be more unhealthy, so that's what he gets as a result. He also gets poor health, malnutrition, and it leads to cavities. And this is another place where an intervention could have happened by looking into a cheap dentist or cheap healthcare or something like that, getting on welfare or something. Which she actually does. She turns to welfare in order to be able to pay for better food and healthcare and stuff. But overall, while developing his motor skills, he shows an interest in playing soccer, which is really good socially and physically. Cognitively, he struggles finding a mentor, which I'm going to also say this wrong. Vygotsky says is an important in development, and without that father figure, he spends most of his time with his grandmother and no male role model, so he doesn't really see the correct way to act as a male. Culturally, growing up in North America, he develops a good self-concept and understanding of himself, which is a part of the psychosocial aspect. And he really does just externalize his problems, which causes him to lash out around age 4. And another intervention could have helped by showing him how to correctly deal with emotions instead of letting him throw tantrums. And middle childhood is the next chapter. Biosocially, yes, he is flourishing with plenty of time and is outside and is involved in like local rec soccer team. So he loves being outside. He is with friends all the time because he can't afford much else. But his brain development is slower than other kids. He struggles at school being independent, which can be ineffective growing up without a dad, which is pointed out in the article, The Consequences of Single Motherhood. He's also developed asthma as a consequence of his mother smoking while pregnant with him. And at age 7, he's warmed up by taking advice from mentors and peers, just as Piggott suggests should happen at this age. But also another outcome of poor financial is that his school isn't very well. He's not doing very well in school. So that's a big problem that his grandmother is trying to help him with. But psychosocially, parents play a major role in child's development, and without the proper stability provided by having a full family, he's not developing socially as well as he should. So, I mean, he'll get in fights or he'll, like, bully people. But he doesn't really get bullied. And the next chapter, adolescence. Jess begins puberty, which causes problems for his mother because she doesn't have enough money to keep up with the amount of calories he needs to grow. And another side effect of his mother smoking during pregnancy is that he starts it a little later than everybody else, than like his peers and his friends. But with the sexual maturation, DS's secondary sexual characteristics, such as like a deeper voice and facial hair, starts to develop. And culturally, being in a city, he needs to be prepared for everything. So cognitively, he's developed intuitive reasoning more than analytical reasoning because he always needs to watch his back. And school-wise, he's like a C student. He's still not doing very well. And an intervention could have happened here for the grandmother to go somewhere for adequate care and let him grow up without having to worry about that and like, focus on school. And psychosocially, he sees his identity as someone who needs to take care of his mom because she doesn't have a man in her life, so he's like the man of the house. By stepping up and taking the role of being the man of the house, he matures faster than his peers. And emerging adulthood is the next chapter. And his best friend gets murdered, and his grandmother passes of old age, which takes a huge emotional toll on him, like it would anybody. So he starts smoking and he starts drinking regularly. Focusing on the psychopathological part, he develops a severe depression over the loss of his best friend and lashes out even more than before. He like regularly gets in trouble with school and the law, and he doesn't really understand how to treat women. But cognitively, after a year or two of digging himself into a hole, he turns towards religion. And this is where another intervention could have happened, where he could have gone to therapy to help with his mental health and dealing with the loss. And due to his poor performance in school, he cannot go to college, so he works at his uncle's body shop. And psychosocially, he has trouble with intimacy since he grew up not seeing how a father would love a mother. So he is in an emotionally abusive relationship, which he feels like he needs to stay in because he has a mentality of like, oh, everybody needs me. So he like takes what he can get, kind of. And that's a result of his father leaving and not really having that role model. The next chapter is middle adulthood. And at age 20, he gets his girlfriend pregnant and has to find another job to support his mom, his girlfriend, and now his child. He does continue to smoke and still suffers from depression due to his economic status and abusive relationship. And this is, again, another intervention could have happened of just therapy or couple counseling to help relieve stress in the life and maybe help him quit smoking and drinking so much. Cognitively, he is behind when it comes to handling stress and struggles, but with help from his relatives, he starts to find his way and turns to God for a lot of answers. And through a lucky break, he now manages the body shop that his uncle has. But him and his girlfriend do split up, but he's determined to stay in the child's life, unlike his father was. But due to smoking, he was diagnosed with lung cancer at the age of 4. And the last chapter, late adulthood and death and dying. Byers socially, he has come to terms with dying younger than usual due to his cancer. Like he understands, like, oh, I did this to myself because I was smoking. But it does take an emotional toll on him, and suffers from ageism, which is another contributor to his depression. People see him as older than he is because he's sick. And cognitively, his memory starts to fade due to age and illness, so that's really hard on him too. And he does end up dying at age 54 and does not experience all of the wisdom gained from old age. Um, and with prior knowledge of his poor medical condition, he already had funeral arrangements made and a will, to not be a burden to his family, because he still has a mentality of like he needs to take care of everybody. But his mother died shortly after he passes away. And my references are for the article, The Consequences of Single Motherhood, is by Sarah McClung in the American Prospects. Yeah.